Hi guys, it's Mike from Lumin Lights here, and this is a tutorial for a new product we have here. It's a small 4-channel LED lighting control board. Now for those of you just getting into the world of DMX, or for those companies who have roadies or DJs that really don't know DMX that well, that need something very simple and easy to use, very basic. This is pretty basic, but it's got some neat features in it as well. Let's just go over some of the external features. It's an extremely small unit, as you can see. I've got kind of big hands here, but this is a small unit. You've got a DMX out in case you don't want to use the wireless capability, or you have a fixture that does not have wireless built in. So you can take a DMX cable out, go directly into your fixture. Here's the power input port for the power supply to power this unit. And then here's your on-off switch, which is self-explanatory. Looking at the front of the board here from left to right, we have this little blinking light here that says D-Phi sync. Basically, that's your wireless LED transmitter. And the antenna, by the way, is right here. It's built into the unit. It tucks away, so it won't get broke during transport. And when you're using it, basically just flip it up, and there you go, your antenna's ready to go. And going back to the little button here, this has the same circuitry as our wireless DMX sticks. All our products use the same circuit board, so they're all compatible. We're also compatible with other products. And if you wanted to, like the DMX wireless sticks, you wanted to change to go to a different frequency band, say you're starting another DMX universe, or you're in a room, your lights are freaking out, you find out that another DJ or another band or somebody in another room is broadcasting on the same frequency, you can change the frequency. Just basically press the button, and you can see the colors are changing here, and I'm going to the different frequencies, 7 different frequencies within the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band. Now I'm back to red. Now, if you ever want to check what color you're on, because each color is a different channel, just hit the button once, quick. It's solid red. I'm on the red channel. If I were to go to, say, the green channel, it's flashing red again. Flashing red means it's transmitting. That lets you know that it's sending out a signal. But if you need to know what channel you're on, a quick press of the button for a second will give you a solid color showing you what channel you're on. So I'm going to go back to channel 1, which is red, because that's what channel I have my fixture set up on, which I'll show you in a minute. Moving down from here, we have our next section, which is labeled fixtures. And you have 4 different fixtures that you can select. Now, this doesn't mean you're limited to only 4 lights on your job. Fixture 1 could be set to DMX address, starting address number 1, which is what it starts on. And you can have 100 lights. As long as they're all addressed to 1, they will all act as 1 light. But you could have 100 lights in a room, and whenever you press that number 1 button, the fixtures button, whatever you do here will control those 100 lights. You can take another 100 lights, address them to a different starting address, and put them on fixture 2. And now when you select 2, it'll control those lights. If you can select 1 and 2 together, as they are right now, whatever you do to your controls, all the lights will follow that. Or if you want to have only 2 do one thing, change your colors, then turn 2 off, and turn 1 on, and change the colors there. But we'll get into more of that in a minute. Moving down from there, we have 4 buttons from left to right. RGB fade, that's for color fades. Auto, which jumps from color to color. Chases, which are pre-built color chases. And color macro, which are pre-programmed solid colors. Now, I'll go over this in relation to how you access those in a minute. Below that, you have a sound button and a sound sensitivity knob. And this is to put your lights into sound active mode, and the sensitivity is either less counterclockwise, less sensitive, all the way clockwise, very sensitive. And the sensor, or the microphone that triggers the sound activeness, is built inside of the board. Moving over to the next section, we see a button down here labeled presets, and then 9 buttons that are labeled with colors, but if you notice on the top it says colors/chases. Now that's because this preset panel corresponds to these 2 buttons here, chases and color macros. If I were to hit chases and then hit these buttons, I would have 9 different chases that are pre-programmed into this unit. If I hit color macro, I have 9 different, and I activate the preset button down here, I have 9 different colors, and we'll show you that in a minute. Moving over here now, we have our 4 faders. Now these faders can serve 2 different functions. They can either control your channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you have, say, a 4-channel light that has red, green, blue, and white, you can control each individual color. And I'll show you that. Now, if you're in a different mode, color mode, a fade mode, an auto mode, instead of red, green, blue, and white, the faders take on different control functions, such as the speed or time for, say, a fade or a jump to happen, the fade time, the master dimmer, which is your overall brightness, and the 4th channel is just white dimmer. It doesn't really correspond to any of these functions. Okay, the last thing, we go over here all the way on the right side of the board, and we have 3 buttons. The first one is labeled Strobe, and that's to strobe your light. And when you hit Strobe, all the other faders are disabled, except for this fader, which sets the speed of your strobe, how fast the light is going to flash. From very, very slow, 1 minute per flash, to 0.1 seconds per flash. Below that is manual RGB. Now that's red, green, blue, white. That's, if you hit that button, you can manually mix colors. So if you wanted to make like yellow, red, and green together make yellow. So that's a manual RGBW mode. And then blackout turns the lights on or off. Like it says, it'll black out your show. You got a whole bunch of lights going and you don't have time to sit and pull the faders down. You just hit one button, everything blacks out. So now we're going to show you, to illustrate the controls here, we're going to, we have this hooked up to our wireless battery operated Ogre bar. It's called our Power Ogre Bar 8. It's an 8-section LED bar. And I just synced up the channel. This is on channel 1, red, the same as this. It's the same board inside. So you see that the transmitter, the control board, which is transmitting from this antenna, is flashing red. That means it's sending out a DMX signal. And the light, the receiver board, it's a transmitter receiver board, has gone into receive mode because it's flashing green. That means it's taking in the signal and it's ready to control this light. So let's go over some functions here. Let's start with, first of all, we have this light addressed to DMX starting address 1, which corresponds to the first fixture here. So I have to select my fixture. I can do faders, whatever I want to do here. It's not going to control the light until I select the light. So let's press 1. Now fixture 1 is selected. Now this light has multiple DMX channel modes, but I have this in the very basic mode of 3-channel mode. As you can see right there, we're in 3-channel mode. So 3-channel mode, it's an RGB light, red, green, blue. So channel 1 is red, channel 2 is blue, channel 2 is 3. There's nothing on the 4th channel, so this channel won't do anything. So we'll see right now that I'm going to move my red fader up, and I'm going to turn this towards you. And the red comes on, because red is channel 1, green is channel 2, blue is channel 3. So you can put them all up to get white. You can do blue and red to get purple. And this is where you get into color mixing and custom colors. And that's why it's called manual RGB. So that's activated. Now, let's go to a different mode. If we come over, oh, let me just show you something real quick. The blackout function I talked about before, I've got a nice yellow going, and I don't want to pull these down, or I have a custom color. This is why blackout is also, I have a custom color set, and I had to play around with this for a while to get just the right shade to match your bride's shoes. And you don't want to pull these down because it's going to be a pain to get the color back again. Maybe you didn't mark your board where the color should be set. So cake time comes, you got to kill all the lights while they put a spotlight on the bride and groom. Just hit your blackout button like so, and the lights are off, but your settings are saved. Cake is over, we're back to dancing. Hit your blackout button again to turn the lights back on. So let's pull that down. Now let's go over to the left side of the board. We still have number 1 fixture selected. I'm going to go to RGB fade. When I click that, you can see here the lights are fading pretty fast. Now when this is activated, you have 2 faders here that you can play with to control the speed of your fades. And what you have to do is you have to kind of move them up and down real quick to reset them, so now they're activated. So now I can do the first fader here, which says speed time. I can move this up and it's not going to do anything. How come? Because we also have a fade time. And to explain this, fade time is how long it takes the light to fade. In other words, if we're set blue and then we'll go into yellow, how long is the blue going to stay on blue before it starts to go to the next color? And then the speed time is if we have to mix two colors to get that color, how fast they're going to mix. It's kind of a fine line. You have to play around with it, but let's put this up, and then let's put this up, and you'll see now we're fading really fast. Now if I pull the speed time down a little bit, you'll see how the colors are kind of stuttering, because that's how much time it takes for them to get to the color they're going to settle on. Now if I pull my fade time down, you see that as opposed to this where it fades fast from color to color, it's fading a little smoother now. And by playing with the speed time, you also get a smoother transition on the colors. It's not so choppy. Like when I pull it down here, you'll see it's a little bit choppy if I raise this up. There we go. You see the choppiness. So that's your fade. Let's pull this down. And now let's go to the next function here, which is auto. Auto, in order to use auto, we got to reset our faders here now. Auto, and sometimes you have to hit it twice to reset it, or select the fixture and then select it again. Auto is going to jump from color to color to color. But it's not going to do anything until we turn up our master dimmer. Because again, now when you activate the switch, these faders have different functions. And for auto, you have to turn up your master fade. Now you see the colors are going really fast. They're jumping from color to color. Let's pull this down. I reset my faders. And now we got our speed and time fade. Don't worry about it because this is not a fade. It's just jumping. So we're going to control our speed. And as I increase my speed, okay, we do have to have the fade time up. I'm sorry. As we increase our speed, we see the colors are jumping faster and faster until I'm all the way up and they're jumping really fast. So we can adjust that. But again, you pull down the fade time. This is the time again between colors. So sorry, I said I was... Alright, next function is the auto mode. Now let's reset everything here so we can show you auto mode. Turn it off and turn it on again. Now first thing you have to do in auto mode is remember that now these faders are active. You've got speed, fade, and master dimmer. Let's turn up our master dimmer. Let's reset our faders by moving them up and down. Now you see it's not jumping from color to color because we have to set our speed and our fade time. Our fade time is how long between color jumps, and the speed is how quickly they jump. And you see here we're starting to get some movement. It happens right near the top of the board, and as we go a little further, we get to the point where it's almost strobing, but not quite. We pull our fade time down a little bit, and it slows things down again. So again, play with it, get the settings and the look that you want. So that's our auto mode. Now let's turn auto mode off and go to chases. Now remember, when we activate chases, we have these controls the speed and the master dimmer, but we also have now preset chases that are pre-programmed. So let's hit our chases. Let's put our master dimmer up and reset these, our time and our fade. And let's select chase 1. Chase 1 alternates between red and green. Now you see that red and green. That's chase 1. Chase 2 is green and blue. Speed this up a little bit. Chase 3 is red and blue. Chase 4 is green, red, and blue, and so on and so forth. The chase is basically just alternating between different colors, so you can play around with that. And again, the speed is going to determine how fast. You see I have the speed all the way up. It's going crazy now. I have the fade time up, and the fade time is, as I have it up, the fade time is less. It goes from 1 minute to 0.1 seconds. So again, play around with these two faders to get the look that you want. Moving on to our next button, color macros. Now color macros, in order to be active, again, let's reset our faders and our master fader. Color macros, you have to hit the preset button and activate it. Now the lights went off because now we're in color macro mode. The first button, if you look at the labels here, the words are below each button that it corresponds to. So let's go up. The very top button is labeled red. If I click that and I move my master fader up, because again, your master dimmer now, your faders are taking over the controls that they labeled on the bottom when you're using presets. So first one is red, second one says orange, third one says yellow, fourth one says green, fifth one says cyan, sixth is blue, 7 is purple, 8 is magenta, and 9 is white, which is all colors on. So we have our master fader and we have our set colors. The speed and the time don't really do anything because it's a solid color. Alright, next function we're going to cover now is sound active mode. So click on sound. Now we were in color macro mode, alright, and we were on, say, whatever color we were on. Let's turn this off for a minute. Say we were on red. Let's reset this. Color macro presets red. Okay. Now when I hit sound active, the microphone's built into the controller. It's not going to do anything. I've got my sound sensitivity all the way up. It's not doing anything because the macros for color are solid colors. They're not supposed to change. They're supposed to stay solid. So sound sensitivity will not work with color macros. It only works with RGB fade, auto, chases, and manual RGB mode. So let's start off with the fades. We'll go to fades. Okay. Now we got to reset our faders. Remember, we'll set up our dimmer up to full, and we're going to set our speed and our fade time. Now let's do it fast just to illustrate the point. Okay, now you see our fades are happening fast. Now when I hit sound, they freeze. They only transition as they get sound. Okay? Moving on to auto mode, where you jump from color to color. Let's turn this off again. And again, get into auto mode. We got to turn up our fader, and we can turn up our speed to make it jump from color to color. Hit our sound, it freezes. Now it needs a sound in order for it to happen. And basically what sound active mode is there's a microphone inside. When a microphone hears the sound, it makes an electrical connection which triggers the light to do something, and then as soon as the sound dissipates and the microphone goes back to normal mode, it disconnects the wire or disconnects the signal. So it's basically an on-off, almost like a digital signal that's controlling the lights. Alright, next up, chases. And we're going to turn off sound for a minute. We're going to readjust our faders to lock everything in. We got our master dimmer up, and we got our chases going kind of fast, so slow them down a little bit. And now we hit our, let's pick our red and green chase, and we hit sound. And again, now it's stuck on red until I get a sound. Green, red, sound active mode. And again, we said color macro does nothing. So we've covered everything here. We've covered the dual functions of the sliders. The last thing we have to go over is this side. And we'll again start with the blackout. I want to kill the lights, just the blackout mode. Hit it again, they're still on. Now we're going to pull everything down, and we're going to go into manual RGBW, which is manual color mode. And again, we have to reset our faders. Now everything is set. Now again, this is an RGB light, red, green, blue, starting on DMX address 1. We're on fixture 1, which starts on DMX address 1. And faders 1, 2, 3 are going to control, and it's labeled right here, red, green, blue. So I move up my red fader, and I've got red color, my green fader, my blue fader. And if you want to mix colors, you want to make purple, purple is red and blue mixed together, there you go, you've got purple. Now, if I want to strobe this, I hit my strobe button. And now nothing is happening. It's not strobing because just like the other modes, when we hit a mode, we have to reset these faders so that they become active in the new mode that they're in. In strobe mode, faders 1, 2, and 3 are disabled. They don't do anything. See, I'm resetting them here. They don't do a thing. The first one, though, controls the speed of the strobe. So bring it up and down. Now it's on solid because we're strobing one strobe every minute. I don't want to wait a minute to see this thing strobe. So as I move this up, though, you see as we get faster and faster, closer to 0.1 seconds, we're strobing faster and faster. Now, the strobe can be used in every mode. So let's show you by going back to color macro, picking the color red, putting our master dimmer up. Oops. Color macro, presets, red. Turn the strobe off first. There we go. We've got our red, and then hit the strobe and reset the fader, and now you're strobing in red. Now this comes in handy if you want to, set a color and you can strobe it. Or you can pick any color you want. There's cyan again. Only this fader is active. The other faders aren't doing anything. Turn off strobe. You have to turn it off before you activate the next mode. Let's go to chases, and let's go to chase 1, which again is the put up our fader here and change our fade times. Is chasing between red and green. We hit our strobe. Now these faders are disabled. We reset our strobe function and we're controlling the speed. Now the chases are still alternating between red and green. They're still doing their chase, but they're flashing at whatever rate the strobe is set at. Turn off strobe again. Okay. Next up, we'll show you strobing in auto mode. Turn up your master dimmer. Turn up your 2 faders. And there we go. We are jumping from we're jumping from color to color here. Alright, now I'll show you strobing on the auto mode. And just go to our master, reset all our levels here, our speed, our fade time, bring up our master, and then we're going to bring up our speed and our fade. And there we go. We're jumping from color to color. And then we turn on our strobe, which again disables all the faders now. I can pull these up and down, doesn't matter. The only one that matters is this one right here. Now with this off, auto is still doing its thing in the speed that I set. So it is moving, but it's not flashing until I start doing this. Now it's still doing its program, but it's strobing. In other words, lights are turning on and off at the time interval that's set by this slider. And then we do the same thing again with the RGB fade. Let's just reset all this. RGB fades, put up our volume, put up our master dimmer, and then we set our fade time here. Let's make it fast so you can see the transition. Hit strobe, everything else is disabled. Reset your strobe time slider, and there you go. Let's turn that off. So that's a tutorial on our wireless DMX hardware controller 4-channel unit. For further information and pricing, please visit our website www.luminlights.com.